Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday, Wednesday. Happy Happy Wednesday. Yes, happy Wednesday, May 11th. All right, what are we gonna talk about today? So a lot of kind of mixed subjects today. I'm going to talk a little bit about burnout, talk a little bit about habits, strategies, implementation, things that you can do. We're going to talk some about the market and just ways that one of the subjects that we'll talk about is kind of ways to hack your habits. And if you want to create something different, you have to do something different. If you want to do better, you have to be better. So just kind of giving you some thoughts and ideas to implement, because I know a lot of us, we get frustrated, we get busy. And in the midst of getting really busy, doing all the things that we're doing, all the prospecting, all the prospecting you guys are doing, because I know a lot of us don't do a lot of the things that we should do. We do talk to people every day, but we don't talk to enough. But in the midst of all the prospecting, all of the listings, all of the buyers, all of the showings, the family, the shopping, the traveling, the doing this, the inflation, the market, in the midst of all of that, we get so caught up and we forget about ourselves. You have to remember that you are the person that is doing this thing called life. It's you, but you're not bringing your best attitude, your best energy, your best intentions, your best anything to every single day. So I started yesterday out asking our team was just a simple question. And that question is, and I'd love for you all, I love the engagement. So if you all could do me that favor and just chat in when we have some questions, it really does help. It really does help give perspective on everybody that's out there. There are no right answers. There are no wrong answers, because like I said, you are this person that is doing this thing called life. It's you bringing yourself to the table. So whatever you have to bring to the table is what you have, and that's okay. So it doesn't matter what the answers are. It doesn't matter what the response is. It's really great to get the engagement. So the question I asked yesterday is, if I were to give you $1 million, how would that make you feel? Give me 1-word answers, 2-word answers. How would that make you feel if I were to give you $1 million? So if I can, blessed to get $1 million, you would feel blessed to get $1 million. What else? Ecstatic. How else would you feel if you were to get $1 million? How would it make you feel? I just handed you $1 million. Like, make a sound, throw a bunch of chats in, throw some. What would you feel like if I were to give you $1 million? Right? Now, if you woke up tomorrow with $1 million, would anything be able to get you down tomorrow? Would anything be able to get you down tomorrow? Give me that answer. What would get you, is there anything that would get you down tomorrow if I handed you $1 million? And if anything did happen that would get you down a little bit, I guarantee that the feeling of having that $1 million would help to make it not so bad, right? You'd be able to deal with those problems a little bit easier if you had $1 million. Taxes might get you down, yes. But if you had $1 million tomorrow that you didn't have today and you had taxes due, would it make it easier? Would you still feel ecstatic and awesome because now you have, instead of $1 million, you have $975,000 after you paid your taxes, right? So yes, you would feel amazing. You would feel great, right? So let's take it one more step. How would you feel if I gave you $10 million? Everyone, I want you to do this. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine that tomorrow you wake up. If you're driving, pull over and do it. Don't do it while you're driving. If you're sitting there, just close your eyes and imagine what it would be like if you had $10 million tomorrow. If you woke up with $10 million tomorrow, what would that feel like? What would you do? What are the first few things that you do? What kind of difference would it make in your family? How much of a difference would it make for your kids, for your future, for your investments, for your retirement? How would it feel to relieve that stress that you have on you that you're carrying today? Even if you're not that stressed, how much more stress would be relieved if you had that $10 million? This is not about money. This is about the feeling Money is the easiest way to correlate it because that's what our world is based on in a lot of ways. So how would it feel to have $10 million tomorrow? Now, let me ask you this question. If I were to give you $10 million, but the only caveat to it is you couldn't wake up tomorrow morning. When I say you can't wake up tomorrow morning, not you can't wake up until later in the day. No, I'll give you $10 million right now, but you don't wake up tomorrow at all. You are off this earth. You are gone. How many of you chat in, yes or no? How many of you would take the $10 million if I gave you $10 million right now, but you cannot wake up tomorrow? How many of you, what would you say? Yes, no, what would you say? No, 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 no. So the question really is, or the statement really is, you just told me that waking up tomorrow, just the simple act of waking up tomorrow, is worth more than $10 million. But how many of you actually woke up this morning feeling the same way? That's why I asked you to think about what would you feel like if you had $10 million? What kind of stress would be, how much of a difference would it make in your family's life? And you just said that opening my eyes this morning, because I woke up, was worth more than $10 million. The fact that I opened my eyes this morning is worth more than $10 million to me. How many of you felt those same feelings that I asked you to feel if you would have had $10 million? I guarantee that none of us did, because your life and your health and your family and your worth is way more than $10 million. But we keep attaching it to money. We keep attaching it to having these 10 million pieces of paper, these 100,000 pieces of paper. The quality of your life is not about the amount of money that you have. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of decisions that you make, the quality of questions that you ask yourself, like, how do I feel this morning? And if my life is worth more than $10 million, opening my eyes this morning, how should I feel and act all day, every day, with every person I come into interaction with? Look, for some of us, we're saying, well, that's easy for you. That's hard. I can't, why would I? That's just nuts. I mean, it's easier if you're talking about money, but not with my feelings. Why? What are you doing on a daily basis to reinvigorate yourself, to make yourself feel like you're worth $10 million? What are you doing when you wake up? Because if you had $10 million in the bank, you would open your eyes and you would feel absolutely amazing, ecstatic. You guys said it. You're the ones that put it over here, that you would feel amazing, ecstatic, blessed, all of this. How many of you woke up this morning feeling all of those feelings that you said you would feel if you had $10 million? And the question being, why not? And if you were going to do something different tomorrow when you woke up, what would you decide to do? What are 3 things that you would decide to do different tomorrow when you opened your eyes? Because your life is worth more than $10 million. So what would you decide to do tomorrow morning when you open your eyes to remind yourself that it's worth more than $10 million? What are 3 things you could do? What would you do tomorrow differently if you wanted to prove to yourself the simple fact that you already know that you are worth more than that when you open your eyes in the morning? What would you do? And I would ask you to write those things down. Take today and write down 3 things that you would do tomorrow, 3 things that you would feel tomorrow, 3 statements you would make, just anything at all. I don't want to get too specific with it because I want you to come up with it, that you could do to make yourself feel like you are worth the value of what your life really is, and not a bunch of pieces of paper. What can you do tomorrow different? Those are the things I would ask you to do. And that's going to take me into, I'm going to get some live. That's going to take me into the next part of what we're going to talk about. And this one. About just the little shifts, little hacks that you can use, things that you can do to help change your habits, to help change your state. Everything that we are doing right now is a series of habits. The way you open your eyes and the way you feel is a series of habits. The way that you open your eyes, put your feet on the ground, walk to the coffee maker, walk to the bathroom, go wake up your kids, go make breakfast, trip over the dog, whatever it is, they're habits. And the way that you are feeling about when you wake up is also a habit. Your brain was not meant to make you successful and meant to make you thrive. Your brain was meant to keep you safe. So the brain and the body being as efficient as they are, the most efficient machines that I say were ever built, ever built, are trying to keep you safe, not successful. So the habits that you have formed from the time that you've been a little kid, the emotional responses, the physical responses, the way that you think when somebody looks at you a certain way, the way that you drive your car, put your clothes on, brush your teeth, are all habits that your body has formed. And that is, how many of you would define yourself by the way that you brush your teeth or get dressed? How many of you would say that is something that defines you? It's a habit you do. You do that more every single day than you do other things that should be defining you. So in a lot of ways, all of our habits like that are actually defining us. They become the monotonous things we do every single day. The frustration starts to settle in because nothing's changing, nothing's different. Your body has taken over and you have all these habits, reactions, and everything to what you're doing. And you're not doing anything different. And then that gap grows between where you think you should be, the changes you should be making, the things you should be having, the things you should be accomplishing, and where you actually are. That gap starts to grow and frustration sets in even more. And next thing you know, you feel upset, depressed, challenged, and you don't do anything. And you wake up tomorrow not feeling like $10 million. So what can you do different? What are some things that you should do? Here's some little hacks that we're going to walk through. I'm going to give you just some things you can implement today, things you can implement tomorrow throughout your day, just little tiny things that you can do that'll help to try and change those. But here's a quick little quote. Sometimes I wake up and have to remind myself, there's nothing wrong with me. I have patterns to unlearn, new behaviors to embody, and wounds to heal. But there's nothing wrong with the core of me and who I am. I am unlearning generations of harm and remembering love, and it takes time. Think about that. You are unlearning. Whenever you're trying something new, you are unlearning. I'm 42 years old. I'm unlearning 42 years worth of habits to try something new. Which one do you think is going to be stronger? My actions to try this something new, or the 42 years of things that I've built up over time, emotional responses, physical responses, thoughts, feelings, and all that? Which one is going to be stronger? The 42 years of experience are going to try and keep me safe. And what I know is safe is 2 feet on the ground right here. I woke up this morning. I'm alive right now. 42 years kept me alive. I'm doing something right. I am safe. The decisions I make are safe. The habits I form are safe. I am safe. So anytime I try something new, wait a minute, hold on. That's not what you've been doing. Wait a minute, we probably shouldn't do that. That might not be safe. What if you did, even trying to earn more money? Your life would be better with more money, but it could be worse. More money, more problems. Remember that money doesn't grow on trees. That means there could be problems. Everything that you're doing, I am safe where I am because I've 42 years, I've kept myself safe with my habits, my emotions, my responses, and everything that I do, my actions and all of that. And I haven't died. So if I keep doing the same things this way, I will still be alive tomorrow, and your brain's trying to keep you safe. So we have to unlearn some things. So the first thing that I think everybody should try and implement on any given day is unlearning the process of feeling the things you normally feel on a daily basis. And you have to replace them with gratitude. If you trade your expectations for appreciation, everything changes. Would you agree? Would you agree, yes or no, that if you traded expectations of what your day was like, what somebody was supposed to do, what your spouse was supposed to do, your kids were supposed to do, what your boss was supposed to do, what your business was supposed to do, if you traded that expectation for an appreciation of what you already have, what you can create more of, and everything that's already there, and find the things that you are grateful for and love in that moment, would that change your day? Would that change some of your rewiring? And how long would that last? Which is why I asked you to focus on 3 things that you could do tomorrow morning, or 3 things you could focus on tomorrow morning, or 3 things of gratitude you could focus on today or tomorrow morning that would make you feel like you were worth $10 million or more because you said it would be. If you woke up tomorrow, your life is worth more than $10 million. So why not start trying to create a new habit of reminding yourself that every single morning? Because if you don't think that you have habits, if you don't think that you have processes, you're wrong, because you already do. What you're doing already is a habit. What you wake up feeling tomorrow morning already is a habit. So if you want something different, you have to do something different. So let's replace it with something. Replace your actions tomorrow with gratitude. Replace your thoughts tomorrow with gratitude. Instead of waking up being, oh, I'm tired, hit the snooze. The first thing that you should be doing is starting to tell yourself how grateful you are to be alive, because your life is worth more than $10 million and you proved it today. I'm so grateful for this life. I'm so grateful that my feet hit the floor. I'm so grateful for my ability to stand here tall and proud and to feel my heart beat and my lungs filling with air. And some of you are sitting here on the other side of this saying, well, that just sounds stupid. I mean, yeah, I'm grateful for that. But how often do you remind yourself of the little things? Because if you're not reminding yourself of those little things, everything else is going to come in and replace them. And you're going to be frustrated. You're going to be upset. You're going to be bothered. You're going to have those feelings. So gratitude is your absolute key. Gratitude is where everything starts. When I asked you to think of what it would feel like if you had $10 million right now, how would it feel? How many people's lives would you change? How different would it be? And there's nothing that is going to change you from that state. You can't be pissed off when you're excited and grateful and fulfilled and feeling love and all about how many lives you're going to change. You can't be pissed off. You can't be angry. You can't be frustrated, because you're full of gratitude. You're full of love, and you're full of that. So gratitude is where you have to start. You've got to train your brain to start finding the moments of gratitude. So whenever you see there's a problem, instead of saying there's a problem, here's an opportunity to find a blessing in all of this. Here's an opportunity to find what's good, because what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. But we inherently look and find what's wrong. We inherently look and find the problem. We are so problem oriented that we are looking for the problems and not the solutions. Anytime something is going really good, what do a lot of people say? It's too good to be true. Well, that can't happen. That's too good to be true. Well, that's a shitty attitude, don't you think? That something is going amazingly for you and your first thought is, wow, this is so great. This has to be too good to be true. I can't wait for the problem that comes out of this one. It's going to be a doozy. That's how we think. That's how a lot of us think. We have to train our brains and try and change those things. You really need to change the way that your brain thinks. And again, you're unlearning, for me, 42 years of the way my brain works and the way my emotions create. They're just habits. My mom looked at me that way when I was 5, and that means she was pissed off, and I should go cower in the corner and sit and don't do anything because you might piss somebody else off. So anytime somebody gives me any kind of a look like that, a habit that may have formed is I may be afraid to take the next step in the next action because I might make somebody else mad. And next thing you know, you have a people pleaser that's born. And then you're doing something and somebody starts laughing and cracking up. And then you do it more and they crack up even more. And then you find that when you do those things or something else like that, everybody laughs and everybody is just so ecstatic and pointing and looking at you. Next thing you know, you have a performer. And they continue doing that. Now they have a habit of doing those things. And they may be a comedian, they may be an actor, maybe a performer. Can you see how everything from the young age starts to carry over, and that you have to unlearn some of those things? And they're not all good and they're not all bad. They just are. They are who you have created to this point, not who you have become, because becoming something means this is who I am. And that's an identity and that's a definition. And you are not defined by the things that you've done. You're defined by the actions that you take on a daily basis and the things that you feel on a daily basis. So if you want to be stronger, different, more creative, loving, grateful, then be that now in this moment, because what you've done up until this point does not define you. Your past does not equal your future. Your actions in this moment are what's going to define you. The emotions that you create, the thoughts that you have, the decisions that you make from that. That's what's going to define you. And gratitude is the key that's going to take you to that next step. Gratitude is the key that's going to cause you thinking in a growing fashion rather than a tearing down or a flat fashion that's going to keep you right where you've been your whole entire life, because this is safe and this is where I am. Start being grateful for the things that you have, for the decisions that you make, for the opportunities that you have, for your body, for your ability to stand up, for your ability to see things clearly with your eyes, physically see things. Start being grateful for those little things, because those are amazing. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, if you had $10 million, you would feel that way. So why not start feeling that today, tomorrow, right now, in this second, when you wake up, in those moments? You got to remind yourself to feel that. This is a simple little rewiring hack. The more that you show yourself gratitude and tell yourself the grateful things that you have and actually feel them, feel that gratitude in your heart. The more that you do that, the more you're training your heart and your brain to start thinking in a different way. And most of us are, your brain and heart have electrical frequencies that are all constantly going off. They're constantly going. There's frequencies, vibrations, there's electric coming out of both your brain and your heart. Your heart, in a lot of ways, acts like a second brain because there is electric coming off of that, electric coming out of your brain. And most of us throughout our day, when we're stressed, when we're angry, when we're frustrated, when we're going through all of this, these electrical signals don't match. And if you don't match, you don't feel as strong, because everything, if I break the cycle of an electrical cycle, when I turn on a light switch, if the cords aren't connected, the frequency stops. But when I connect them, the frequency and electric that goes through it gets stronger, and it can travel and turn on the light. Your brain and your heart are the same way. Your brain, if it's firing in one way and your heart firing in another way, they're not connecting, and it's not creating the best opportunities for you. If you start thinking in gratitude and get your brain and your heart thinking and feeling in the same way, you automatically increase your frequencies, vibrations, and electrical signals. And now they are working coherently together rather than in opposition. And when they're coherent together, when I turn the switch on, the light comes on. Now, when you turn that switch on of gratitude and thought and emotions and feeling, there's a lot more that comes on inside of you. Creation comes on. Your strength starts shining through. Your feelings start shining through. You start teaching yourself that you can do things different than they've already been done before. So gratitude is your first hack. That's the first thing that you need to focus on. Next one is change your state. Change your state. I can ask you this again. If you were sitting in front of me, I would ask you to show me using your body what it looks like if you were to feel depressed. Show me what it looks like if you were going to feel depressed. I would even go as far to sit down and curl into this corner. Show me what it looks like to feel depressed. Head down. My voice has even dropped. My heart rate is slowed down. My thoughts are just not where they should be. I don't have that kind of energy. That is a state. That is a physical state. There's a lot of things that you can change about your state. So change your state is not just change. It's not just change things around you. Change your state. Everything that you're doing is a habit. I'm going to try and, I know I keep saying that, but it's really important that you understand that. You have a habit, a physical habit of being depressed. Shoulders down, head down, heart rate slows, volume goes down, breaths get more shallow. And what do you feel? If you did that right now, you would start to feel slower, more tired, maybe not depressed, but you wouldn't have the same energy level. So if I asked you to show me what it looks like to feel strong and powerful and energetic and full of vibrant life and emotion, what would you do? My fist clenched up, my muscles in my arm are tensing up, and I'm literally standing here trying to give you the energy from me through this channel. My voice comes up, my head is up, and I am just feeling so powerful. And I am just ready to do it. That is a state change. So if you're ever in a moment, in a feeling where you feel tired, frustrated, sad, depressed, can't get your thoughts straight, change your state. There's 3 ways you can change your state. It's not just your physical state, but your physical body is so powerful. So powerful. Your physicality is so powerful. Something as simple as breathing. Just watch what happens when I breathe. Watch my body, how it changes when I take a deep breath. Watch what happens. How much of my body moved when I took a deep breath? Everything. My lungs and my diaphragm are connected to your ribs and all of the intercostal muscles that are in there. My shoulders went back, my head went up, my face changed. Everything moves when you breathe. So if you need to change your physical state, because that's the first key, the easiest way to change your emotions or how you're feeling is change your physical state. Breathing is key. Because if you're not feeling that great and you're depressed and you're breathing short little breaths. Anybody ever seen your kid when they get upset and they start crying? One of the first things I do with one of my kids, whenever they get upset and they go, I'm not focusing on anything other than their breathing. I'm stopping, I'm staring them right in the eyes, and I'm just telling them, look, come here, sweetheart, come here, hold my hands. Breathe with me, would you please? Can you do me a favor? Can you just breathe in? I want you to breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. And we're going to take deep breaths. And guess what? The first ones are like, but after a few minutes of walking through that, or a few seconds of walking through that, we get some nice deep breaths. And guess what? She's not focusing on what was pissing her off or upsetting her or bothering her anymore. Her breathing changed her body, her physical state, which allowed her to focus on breathing rather than what was making her upset. Because I ask her to count while we're doing it. I will count for you. Breathe with me first, and then I will count, and we'll do. I count. We'll do 5 seconds in, 5, whatever it is. I just pick a different number every time. Get her to focus, because you see the other thing up here is focus. Where focus goes, energy flows. So if I get her to focus on counting, if I'm focused on trying to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, she's 7. So she can count easily, but not as well as a 30-year-old. For me, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I can count backwards, forwards, by twos, by threes, odds, evens, it doesn't matter. She's not so proficient with that. She can count easily, but if I ask her to count backwards, count by twos, it makes her focus. Focus changes. Focus changes your body. Focus changes your mind. And when you breathe and you pair all that together, all of a sudden, you are no longer in the same state that you just were. That was, you've changed it. And it works. It works on a 7-year-old. It'll work on you. Change your state. Change your physical state. Breathing is the quickest and easiest way. Change your focus. If I focus on something, my focus goes from what was upsetting me, and I try and focus on something else. Counting, count your breath. That, again, easy way. Breathe, changes your body. Focus on counting. Count by twos, count by threes, count by fives, count by something that makes you do it a little different. Count backwards from 100 to 80. Do something different that makes you focus on that. You start focusing on that, the brain goes from where you were to where you want to be, which is in a different place than where you were. That's where you want to be. It doesn't matter where you go. You just want to be different. Okay? Next, focus on language. Do you feel like certain words come with some power? Chat yes or no in there. Do you feel like words are powerful? Do you feel that words come with meaning and words come with some power and some inflection when we use them? Do you feel that? Yeah? Yeah, I would say so. Words are very powerful. I'm going to use some, please forgive me, I'm going to use some language here, but it's really meant to prove a point. It's not for any other reason, right? If I looked at you and I said, I fucking love you. Is that different than I fucking love you? Words are different. Words can mean many different things. So we have to find the words that are powerful for us and use and choose your words wisely. Also, when I'm using words, what am I doing with my body? What did you see me do with my body when I was trying to convey a thought to you? I was focusing on my feelings while I was trying to convey that word to you, whether it was, I love you or I love you. I'm using my body. So when I go to say something out loud, my body has to change too. I have to take a breath. I have to use my words. So words are very powerful, but also the connection to your body can be very powerful. So choose your words wisely. Find some words that make you feel powerful, invigorated, and full rather than the ones that make you feel like you are losing or down or not so excited. Like instead of using the word problem, use the word opportunity. Because every morning when I walk, I say, I'm so grateful for the abundance of opportunities that are around me. And I am so grateful for my ability to notice those opportunities and take advantage of them in this moment. Those are the things that I say. So opportunities can be anything. If there's a problem, it's an opportunity because I'm so grateful for the abundance of opportunities and my ability to take advantage of them in this moment. So change your words, change your physical state, change your focus, and those are going to help you get out of the point where you are and shift into a different, more strong point or a more calm state or a more energetic state or a more gratifying state or a more loving state. It's easy to do those things once you realize the power. But too many times we have the habit that gets us going to a point, and all of a sudden, think of this. What's the difference between excitement and anxiety? Somebody tell me, what's the difference between excitement and anxiety? What's the difference? Anxiety, you think of the problems and you think of what bad's gonna happen. What's the difference between excitement and anxiety? That's one thing. Anxiety is worry, the energy. It's really the only difference is the thoughts, the things you're thinking about. Like Jimmy said, that's really the difference between excitement and anxiety. There's two performers, and they were actually they both went for some coaching at some point because they wanted to be able to manage themselves a little bit stronger. I believe one of them was Bruce Springsteen, and they were talking about. He said, "How do you know that you're ready to go on stage and ready to perform?" And he goes, "Man." He goes, "I don't know. I just feel it. My heart starts pumping. My palms get sweaty. I get that tingling feeling inside my body. Everything gets me excited. My heart's going. I'm breathing faster. The thoughts are just about what I'm going to do. And all of a sudden, I know that I'm ready to go. And I get out there on stage and I rock it." And they had another performer going through some anxious phases. And they asked him, well, tell me what makes you feel anxious. She goes, "I don't know. I'm sitting there ready to go out. And my heart starts pumping. My palms get a little sweaty. Start breathing a little shorter. My breath gets labored. And I start thinking, and then that's how I know that I'm having a panic attack." So the physicality is the same. The feelings that you think, the things that you're thinking are what's going to cause the difference. So really it's what you think about. The difference between anxiety and excitement is what you think about, not the body. The physical expression is the same. So really it's about what you're going to tell yourself. So change your physiology, change your focus, change your language. Those are the things, change the things you're telling yourself. There's a little hacks that'll help you get yourself into a different state. We talked about habits. So ways that I'm not going to get too much into this because I've mentioned this a lot, but how do you change a habit? How do you change a habit? Anybody? Just do it. For someone like you, that works. Absolutely. That's because that's exactly how you operate. You're like, no, this is what I do. How do you do that? What's the first thing you have to know when you want to change a habit? What's the very first thing you have to know? You got to know where you are. You have to know what it is you're doing. You have to identify the habit that you want to change. Where am I? This is what I am doing right now that I don't want to do anymore. I don't like it. So you have to be strong enough to identify that this is who I am in this moment, not who I am, identity, who I am in this moment, and I don't want to do this anymore. Identify the habit that you are doing. And once you identify the habit that you are doing, what should you do after that? What's the next thing you want to do? If you identified the habit that you're doing that continues to start doing this, what's the next step? I wrote it on the board. It's okay. Interrupt the pattern, because a habit is a pattern, right? A habit is something that you do regularly. It's a pattern. I go from this and go from this. And once I do this and I do it, and then I know that I'm ready to get on stage, or then I know that I'm having a panic attack. It's a pattern. If you identify the thing that you're doing that you don't want to do anymore, interrupt the pattern at some point. And if you are going to interrupt the pattern, how can you change that pattern? Interrupt it and then replace it. The first step of interrupting is changing your state. Easy way to change it is to change your state. Because if I know that I start getting anxious and doing that, what's one thing I could do to change my state? Or if, let me ask you, if you were depressed, if you went through a tough breakup and you really feel just upset and down, and you're sitting on the couch in the corner with the lights down and you're watching Lifetime movies or eating whatever the heck you're going to eat doing, what would you do to change your state? Stand up, turn the lights on, get outside, start breathing, change your physical state. If you identify that I am feeling depressed and I don't want to feel that way anymore, do something different that's not going to create that same kind of habit, which is breathe, stand up, head up, deep breaths, shoulders back, change your focus, change your language. I put it right here. Your physiology, your focus, and your language. If you're focusing on the person that left you and how upset you are, and you're never going to get through this, and you're never going to feel that, guess what? That's what you're going to feel. If you're focusing on this deal is going to fall apart, this person's going to do that, I know that buyer is going to do this, the minute that they do anything, even if it's not exactly what you thought they were going to do, you have already put it in your mind that that's going to be a problem. You're going to react differently. And now you have this habit of creating your own problems that aren't even really there. So change your physiology, your focus, and your language. So habits, whenever you identify what it is, interrupt it with something. Sometimes if you go to a Tony Robbins event, he'll tell you to make your move. You'll hear people say that. You'll go to an event like that and you'll see people do some crazy things like giving a big clap, hitting themselves on the chest, pumping their fist in the air. Make your move. Make your move. Why? Because it changes your physiological state. It changes my body. And if I know I'm starting to go like this, what do you see athletes do before they go onto the field? What do you see some fighters do before they go into the octagon or into the ring? Somebody's there slapping them across the face, pumping them up, giving them something in their back, slapping them, getting up, or jumping up and down, giving them something like that. They're changing their state to get into a higher energy state. You don't have to go to war every time you don't have to get yourself up like that to go to war every time. You can change your state in other ways that's going to get you more prepared to deal with the things that you're going to deal with. If you're tired, literally doing something like that, breathing is very powerful. So if you take breaths, if you take a long breath in, it's about 5 to 7 seconds in, and then a quick breath out, like the exhale has to be shorter than the inhale. So 5 to 7 seconds in, fully inhale, and then push it out for a shorter, just 2 or 3 seconds at most. That is something that's going to help increase your heart rate. They've shown that if you continually do that, you have the same effects of drinking like a half a cup or a cup of coffee by doing breathing like that. Because when you're breathing like that, you're getting more oxygen into your lungs, more oxygen into your blood. Your heart sees that, starts pumping more oxygen. Oxygen gives you more energy. Your muscles can burn more efficiently when they have oxygen. So breathing is something that can change that. Good. So again, identify, interrupt. And the last thing is replace. If this is what I'm doing and I don't like it, and I understand this is what I'm doing and I don't want to do that anymore, you have to find what you're going to do to interrupt that pattern, spell it out, become creative with it. This is what I'm going to do every time this happens, and then replace it with a new habit. What's the new habit you want to practice? What's the new habit? What do you want to do? Anything. When you wake up, if your habit is to roll over and hit the snooze button, maybe you should, instead of rolling over and hit the snooze button, roll over and aggressively whip off the blankets, throw yourself off to the side of the bed, put your feet on the ground and stand up like with some power into it. Maybe take a big drink of water to get your body moving and going, get some water inside of you, a couple deep breaths. Do you think that would change your physical state? Right? But how many of you will do something like that or think, well, I'm tired. I can't do that because I'm tired. You're only tired because you just woke up. If you do something different, it will change your state. It's a different habit. But identify, interrupt, and replace. That is the power of changing, of being able to change. These are little hacks. Mel Robbins has a book, and she has the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So anytime that she feels like she's procrastinating, like waking up in the morning, why is this powerful? She uses this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So she wake up in the morning, instead of hitting the snooze or laying there rolling over saying, oh, I'm so tired. Before you even start to say, I'm so tired, or I really could sleep a little bit more, she would stop. She would open her eyes. And she'd go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And she would get up and go. Why? She identified there was a problem. Every time I would procrastinate or wake up, I didn't want to do that. She interrupted the pattern. She got her focus involved, because if I focus on counting backwards, which counting backwards is it's harder than counting forwards. In your brain, you could do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could do that, but it's harder for your brain to make sure you focus to go backwards, because it's more natural to go forwards. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And she just takes action, changes her physical state, gets up, starts going. Same thing with procrastination. Whenever she feels like she's procrastinating, I don't want to do that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Simple little hack, simple little thing that she has. And her book is really a really great book. It's really powerful. It's about habits, and it's about changing those things. I do the countdown when I make phone calls. It's perfect. Something like that gets you thinking of something different, thinking in a different light. Another little hack, raise your standards. We don't get what we want in life. We get who we are. Your life right now, your income, your physical body is a direct result of your standards. And we all have different standards. And I could tell what people's standards are from seeing. I'm not judging them. You could tell what their standard is. You have a standard of going to the gym this many days a week. You have a standard of eating pizza 5 days a week. It is what it is. That's the decisions that you're making at that point. But you are a direct reflection of your standards. Again, we don't get what we want. How many of us want $1 million? Who would want $1 million, $10 million? We all want it, right? So why don't you have it? Working on it, right? Why don't we have it yet? Because we don't get what we want. We get who we are. It's our identity. We have an identity that says, this is who I am. This is who I am. How many times do you say that? Oh, it's just the way that I am. Well, I've always been that way, for things that you don't even realize. So how do you change that? Your identity is like a thermostat. If I set a thermostat in a house at 75, it's going to keep it at 75. It'll kick on when it gets to 76, 77 and bring it right back to 75. If it gets a little colder, it's going to kick on and bring it right back to 75. Your identity is the same way. If you don't shift your mindset and your attitudes and your intentions, your identity will keep you right where you are. You'll start earning a little bit more money, and your identity is, yeah, but our family's always been this. I've never really done that. This is the way it's kind of always been. More money, more problems if you start earning more money, and you find ways to kind of stay right at this same identity. Unless you have a really focused growth mindset of knowing and understanding with a certainty that there's more for me. This is what I do. This is just how I operate, and I'm going for this. And that's where the shift is. The shift is in the mindset. But most of us don't think in those terms. We think in those terms of, this is just who I am, how I've always been. And what happens when something happens in your life? How many of you have an additional $20,000 just laying around that if it was gone tomorrow, it wouldn't do anything to you? You'd be like, I'd be pissed, but it's 20 grand. I mean, I'll make it again. How many of you have an additional 20 grand sitting around like that? But there's people out there who only earn $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, who don't have $20,000 in the bank. And when a family member gets sick and they have to come up with $20,000, they find the way and they make the way and they earn that $20,000, right? Their identity says, this is who we are. This is the life we live. This is how much I earn. And even though that $20,000 they need, they could have earned that at any time, but something caused them to step in and do that. They can earn that at any time. So they went to a point where that $20,000 was going to go away. Now they needed to earn it. They find a way to make sure that they stay on this identity and this level. So raise your standards, change your mindset, change your attitude, and change your focus on those things. That's what's going to make the difference. Turning shoulds into musts, right? If you should do something, then you must do it. Just a shift. I haven't taken a hot shower in about 30 days now. I've decided I've seen that there's benefits of cold showers and doing ice baths and things like that. So I take a cold shower every day. Every shower I take is a cold shower. And one of the things that when I first started doing it, you get into like, oh my God, I hate this. I'm so cold. And I just, instead of doing that, said, if I can't, then I must. 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 And I just stand. If I can't, I must. If I can't, I must. I must do this because I've seen the benefits. I know what the benefits are, and I know how it makes me feel after I do that. So I said, if I can't, I must. Now, what if you did that with everything that you say I should do? I'm doing it with things that I know I'm like, man, I can't do that. Or I thought that I can't do it. And anytime I start hearing I can't, I shift it to I must do it. I can't, I must. If I can't, I must. If I can't, I must. I will do that and I will overcome it. What if you turned your shoulds into musts? Well, I should do that. I should make some more prospecting calls. I should earn a little bit more money. I should treat my spouse differently. I should spend more time with my kids. What if you turned it into a must? That's what raising your standards is. That's what making that difference will do when you raise your standards. You're creating and saying, no, this is not who I am anymore. This is who I am. And you're raising your identity, changing your standards. Focus on providing value. Here's another simple thing. If you're in a situation where you're dealing with customers, consumers, and you're seeing that there's problems, don't focus on the problem. Don't focus on the individual. Focus on how you can provide more value. How can I become the most valuable person in this person's life, room, transaction, whatever that is? How can you provide more value to them? If you focus on providing more value to that person, to the transaction, to that situation, it's going to shift your thinking, because typically you're focusing on the individual and you're focusing on the problem that the individual is going through. And you can't change the problem with the same mindset that got you into the problem. And you and the consumer have the same mindset that probably created or got into that problem, or you've inserted yourself into that problem and you're in that same kind of mindset. We need to be able to take a step back and focus on, how do I provide more value to this person? How do I change my perspective of where this is and change it to a value addition? How can I become the most valuable person in their room, most valuable person in their life? Let's see, next. Visualization. I use this a lot, and I know I've heard a lot of you talk about this. I just don't visualize. I can't see things. I don't see things very clearly. I'm not a visualizer. Well, focus on it. Take some time. Visualization is key. Your brain and body do not know the difference between what you can vividly imagine and what's actually real. It's true, and you could prove it to you. How many of you have kids? If you're online, how many of you have kids? For those, it's easy if you have kids. Or how many of you have someone that you love so entirely much, so dearly? They're the most amazing, loving person, and you cherish the moments that you have with them. If you have kids, it's easy. If not, if you have someone in your life like that. If you're driving, don't do this, but if you're not, sit down, close your eyes, and just for one moment, picture having that person. For me, it's my kids, it's my daughter, it's my son, and picture holding them and squeezing them and looking into their eyes and telling them how much you love them, and just feeling that love and knowing how special they are to you, and just feel that, feel the compassion and the love, and how you would do anything for this person. And it's the most amazing feeling. It gives me goosebumps when I start putting myself into that moment and picturing, feeling them in my arms with their arms wrapped around me, feeling her hair brush against the side of my face, and feeling that, and knowing how full your heart is for this person. All right, so how many of you actually felt a little bit of love in that moment? Even just a little bit. Okay, so where is your spouse or your kids? Are they in your arms? Are they in front of you? No. Your brain created a thought, which created an emotion and a feeling inside of you. Your brain and body don't know the difference between what's actually real and what you can vividly imagine. You vividly imagine this person in here, and we're able to recreate to an extent what happens every time that you're with them or when you squeeze them and hold them. So why is it any different with any other part of your life? Why can't you sit down and visualize and create the life that you want, the income that you want, the job that you want, the listings that you want, the business, whatever that is? Why can't you sit and visualize those things, create the same level of emotion and feeling? Like how much of a difference would it make in your life to create that? Who stands to gain the most by you having those things, creating those things, and making that part of your life? What do they stand to lose if you don't do it? What if you start creating those emotions and visualizing your future, the things that you want to create now in this moment? I know that I feel 10 times better now just thinking and focusing on my daughter and holding her and squeezing her, loving her. I'm carrying that love into my next step. And if I did it for longer, it would fill me up even more. So if you sit down and visualize the life that you want to create and all the people that are going to benefit from it and all the emotions and feelings that come along with it, and take some time to do that and create that, Do you think that you are going to take a step out into life a little bit differently, or take a step into that listing appointment a little different if you visualized getting it, and how much of a difference you're going to make in that seller's life, how much of a difference selling this home will make in your family's life towards your next goal of investing, whatever that is? Do you think if you focused on those things, it would make you take stronger, better action? I think so. And I think one thing I believe in, law of attraction, but not in the way that most people think. I think I want it. Oh, there. No, I think in terms of energy and intention. And if I create that energy inside of me and create a frequency and a vibration, then that attracts like frequencies and vibrations. And you can see it in tuning forks. When you have a tuning fork, if you have a tuning fork that's set to a certain frequency and another one that's set to a certain frequency, if I bang this tuning fork on something and it starts vibrating, this one will start to vibrate, and I didn't bang it, because the frequency coming off this one affects this one and it starts to vibrate and make a sound. But if they're not the same frequency, it doesn't vibrate. I can have one that's at a certain frequency or hertz and another one at a different one. If I bang this one vibrates and this one won't. But if they're at the same frequencies, if that's what they're tuned to, and I bang one, this one will start to vibrate. Why is it any different inside people? Why are your energies and frequencies and vibrations that come off your brain, your heart, inside of you, why are they any different? Do you think that you can have that kind of effect? How many of you have walked into a room and been like, ooh, something's not right here, and felt the energy in a room? Those are frequencies and vibrations and energy. How many of you have walked into a room and just felt like amazing and felt great? Wow, I love being around this place. It's awesome. And you want to spend more time with people like that. How many of you have been to a concert? Everybody's pretty damn happy at a concert, right? Music, frequencies, vibrations, everything gets raised. Everybody has a certain experience. So it's just different, raising and changing your frequencies and vibrations. And you can do that with visualization, creating the life that you want in your mind, in your heart, in your brain, in your emotions before it even exists, before it even happens. And if you visualize those things, then your success cycle kicks in. If I visualize them and see them and I create it, do you think that I believe a little bit more that I feel it? If I have a stronger belief that it's going to happen because I visualized it, I've felt it, I've created it, and I've seen it, and I do it regularly every single day over and over and over again, and I take the time to do that. And then throughout the day, I have some meditative moments where I sit down and just reflect, center myself, and create some more of those feelings again. If I do that regularly, do you think that I would have a stronger belief it's going to happen, or a lesser belief that it's going to happen? Stronger. And if my belief is stronger, then I've got a greater potential to take action, right? And if I have greater potential, what kind of action am I going to take? Stronger action or less action? Stronger action. And if I take stronger, more concise, precise action for something I know is going to happen with certainty because I've created it in my mind and in my emotions, and I take that kind of action, what kind of results am I going to get? Better results or worse results? Better. And you get better results. What do you tell yourself? Damn, man, good job. Way to go. Go do that again. Let's try that one. That was awesome. And now my belief gets reinstilled and lifted even more. Now my potential goes up. Now my action goes up. Now the results I get are better, which goes back to my belief. And it's a cycle that gets you through that. But you have to start somewhere. If you don't know what you're creating, if you can't visualize what you're trying to create, if you don't know what it's going to feel like and how many people are going to be affected and what kind of difference it's going to make in everybody's life before you even do it, it's not going to be as strong. You're not going to take that strong of action. There's going to be things that happen. Like if you don't know the reason why you're doing things, when something comes up against an opposition, it's much easier to quit. It's much easier to bring yourself back down to your identity, your thermostat level where it was, instead of what you're trying to raise it to. So you got to have some strong reasons why. You got to have some strong, powerful visualization with some emotions and everything involved. All right, 9:25. I know we got some meetings starting at 9:30 in South Tampa and in Brandon, so we're going to sign off. You guys have an awesome day. Happy Wednesday, May 11th. Today, what time? 11? Today, 10:30 to when? 10:30 to 12:30. We have Bring Your Laptop Moxie class in the room here in the Apollo Beach training room. It's not broadcast. It is meant for a hands-on class. So bring your laptops for some Moxie training today, 10:30 to 12:30 in Apollo Beach. What else? We got Top Agent event this Friday. So for those of you who were top producers for the first quarter, you got your invite. We have some RSVPs. If you don't know if you were, reach out to your manager. If you don't remember getting or RSVPing and you think you were, reach out to us. We'll make sure that we get you that info and let you know where it's at, when it's at, so you can get there. If you guys have some, go back to number 4 really quick. Sorry, number 4. There's number 4 for you really quick. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Let us know what you need. We'll see you this afternoon for Moxie training or on Friday at the Top Agent event. Also, we're going to be we sent out an invite. Did you send it to the team? We sent it to the team for next Wednesday. We have a deputy with Hillsborough County who wants to come and do a realtor safety and security class. He wants to talk about not only physical safety and steps and things that you can take to do to be more safe, to be a little more cognizant of your surroundings, but also security. So cybersecurity, phishing scams, scams for rentals, things like that. He wants to talk like all-encompassing realtor safety and security. That's next Wednesday. There was a calendar invite sent to the team for that. That's going to be on Zoom and in person. We'll have some lunch. So please feel free to show up for that. And with that being said, we are good to go. Happy Wednesday. You guys have an awesome day. Thank you so much.